I'm 68 years old. So, not a kid, and this is the 21st century. The first time I sat down with Graham Alvord, we talked about his youth, spending summers in Kittery Point, swimming, doing things that boys did then. He even watched the trolley go by every day. Imagine a trolley in Kittery Point. It actually tipped over once on the curve near the Congregational Church. He tells a wonderful story about that. Now, I know the trolley ceased operation a long time ago, and sitting opposite this bright-eyed, vibrant man with a quick smile and flawless memory, I was confused. You remember this? I was 6, he replied. Then it hit me. He's talking about the early 20th century, the last century. Graham Alvord was 6 years old. My dad wasn't born yet. It was the beginning of a 100-year journey. In 1916, Packard Motor Company introduced the revolutionary twin-six engine. The first blood transfusion was performed. The Red Sox won the World Series with the mighty George Herman Ruth on the mound. Boeing Aviation began building airplanes. For the first time, Americans could talk on the telephone from coast to coast. The war to end all wars was far from over. Radio was an idea. Movies were silent. The Memorial Bridge in Portsmouth was still 7 years away. And Graham Gillette Alvord was born. How do centenarians celebrate a century of living? Graham Alvord does what he's always done. A few minutes on the treadmill. Then the New York Times crossword puzzle. Then family. Lots of family. Food and music.
Hallelujah. Praise ye the Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise ye the Lord. Praise ye the Lord. Hallelujah. Praise ye the Lord. Hallelujah. Praise ye the Lord. Hallelujah. Praise ye the Lord.
Then, a brief rest. And the most amazing party where people lined up early to wish Graham a happy birthday. Old friends, dear friends, even people he'd never met. The line didn't end until 3 hours after the doors were open. Then the speeches and well wishes, a surprise dedication.
It's our privilege to celebrate this man on his 100th birthday. Happy birthday, Graham. Everybody, happy birthday. There are quite a few people here who want to say a few words, including Graham himself, and so I don't want to hold up the proceedings. But Graham, you have given so much to this community and so much to this church. I think I can speak for everyone here when I say we wouldn't be here if you were just turning 100. We are here because you have spent each of your 100 years giving and serving and exploring the world and giving to us inspiration and adventure, and we thank you. We thank you for everything you've given us. You've given so much to this church that we wanted to at least recognize you in one way that we could. On behalf of the church, Rick also has something that he'd like to present.
Hello. I'd like to say another couple of words, won't take too much time, but I like to put things in perspective for me. And you think about this man in his life, you've seen the Roaring '20s, stock market crash of '29, the Great Depression, the New Deal, World War II, executive officer on a ship at Normandy, the Korean War, the atomic bomb, and a few years after that he turned 40. But I gotta believe that having Gene with you has made the journey a whole lot better. From my perspective, this is for both of you. You guys are an inspiration to us all. At any rate, the church council got together a little while ago, and a rumor had it that once upon a time you produced plays here in this church, up on that stage, and it became known as the Graham Alvord stage, but perhaps not officially, or at least it was lost in the probably generations since then. So now we're going to make it official. We're going to put a plaque up there. Everything's official. It says the Graham Alvord Stage, rededicated 7 September 2016. So this will be up there.
More people waiting to say hello. Then representatives of Maine's government spoke, beginning with Senator Angus King's office.
Offices in Maine have sent people specially here for today, so we're going to welcome them all up together, and they generally have something to say, each of them. Something short.
He did send a personal note. I have to say, and I spoke to Mr. Alvord, the senator said, find out how he did it. How did he get to 100?
Hi, my name is Rob McCann. I work for Congresswoman Pingree in her office in Portland. It's a real privilege to be here today to celebrate your birthday and to spend it with all of your friends and their family. I just wanted to read a short sentiment from my boss, as she wasn't able to be here, but I think like all of our bosses, they're all down in DC this week. So she writes, Dear Graham, I'm so pleased to extend my warmest best wishes as you celebrate your 100th birthday. What a joyous milestone for you, your family, and all of your friends gathered here today. In your lifetime, you have lived through times of war and times of peace. You have faced periods of national prosperity as well as economic uncertainty. And you have seen extraordinary advances in medicine, education, and technology. Maine truly is the way life should be because of citizens like you, Graham. I applaud your contributions not only to the great state of Maine, but to our country during World War II. Your service at Omaha Beach is especially deserving of commendation and recognition by the President of the United States. Thank you again for your service, and happy 100th birthday. Sincerely, Shelley Pingree, Member of Congress.
A couple stories really are kind of fun that we found out. I found out my father first came to this church, which has been so much part of his life, when he was 5 years old. When there was no bridge to Kittery Point, he took a ferry, and his grandfather was the minister, John Graham. So this has been part of our family for a very long time. Secondly, having moved away, as many of my brothers, and I'll point them out in a moment, have done, I'm in Texas now, Chips in Alaska, but I just it hit me this week also that about 100 feet away from us, a wonderful lady named Lillian True grew to be 102 years old, and you know, many of you know her. My dad's aiming for that now, and I'm thinking, did I move away from Kittery Point too soon? This is
I'm very glad to be here. I'm overwhelmed by all the compliments that have been showered on my head. They're not the least bit deserved. You don't know me well enough. But anyhow, I've loved living in Kittery Point. As I say, I came here when I was 5 years old, and in a sense, it's got better and better over the last 95 years. God bless you all.
Nothing is worth doing that can be achieved in a lifetime, by Reinhold Niebuhr. Bodhisattva on a bike. 10 years past ago, biking helmet above gray hair, chin strapped firmly in place, legs and feet pumping, eyes assessing conditions of path and traffic ahead and rear in dentist-sized helmet mirror, the only aerobic striver smiling on this rolling, winding road, our hero wheeled joyfully down a middle course into his 9th decade.
When Graham was teaching at Portsmouth High School in the 50s, and in my junior year, that was 58, he put together a play for us. I was a part of the play. It was a very small group, and there was no set. It was Thornton Wilder's The Journey, and we had chairs on the stage, and we were supposed to be in a vehicle on a journey. Well, Graham took us to Durham, and we won all New Hampshire. He took us to Manchester, was it? We won all New England. I won Best Actress. And we were national thespians. All of this were due to his dedication. And then he said we had to bring it here to this stage. So we brought Thornton Wilder's The Journey, right, and performed it right on the stage.
In 59?
Yeah, it's 58. It was 58. Yeah. So that's
It's a great memory.
because I was the class of 59, and Duncan was a class, and Harold was here. Yeah.
Graham is a warm, kind soul, and he gives good hugs.
I used to know him when he rode his bike, right? And once in a while we skied together.
Happy birthday, Graham!
Graham, happy birthday. Have many more, please.
He's the only person I've ever met who will shrug off the fact that he fought in World War II. I'll say, you fought in World War II? He goes, yeah. Do you know the answer to this crossword puzzle question?
Happy birthday, Graham! Happy birthday, Graham! I love you!
Happy birthday, Graham.
So, that's it. That's how a centenarian celebrates 100 years on this earth. We should all be so lucky. Happy birthday, Graham.